Absolutely. Okay, so a New York Times article is asking, what is the point of your 20s? Is it a time to enjoy yourself, or is it time to plan for the future? A lot of like, what's going on there? Jess, what do you think? Is there a point to your 20s? If so, what is it?
I don't think you know the point of your 20s until you're in your 40s or your 50s or your 60s. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was in my 20s.
Or your 70s.
Sorry, yes! Yes! 80s! 90s! Hundreds. I felt like in my 20s, I spent a lot of time maybe comparing myself to where other people were at. I didn't have my act together. I felt a little lost, and you see people your own age maybe like pursuing careers, having big relationships, even having families. And yeah, that wasn't a healthy thing to do, but to be honest, I now look back on my 20s with a lot of fondness. I don't want to go back to my 20s.
Oh, I do.
You do? I don't. Because it was this time of also anything was possible. You know that feeling? Anything. I'm not saying that nothing is possible as I approach 50, but there is this realization that, oh, a lot of life is just sort of like expensive grocery bills and buying insurance. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like there's just something, some sort of magic lost, I guess. So I miss that about my 20s.
I have tenderness for my 20s. I think it's a time to experiment. It's time, you know, to fail, to grow, to learn, to move across the country a bunch of times. I did. And, you know,
Did you?
Yeah, I did. And I came back quickly because I didn't know what I was doing. But, you know, I moved to Toronto when I was 26, and I was scared, and it was a big time for me, and I was lucky. You know, I had a family that supported me, and said, kind of get out there and figure it out.
Where's your hometown again? Remind me.
Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia forever. Yeah, big move.
So it was a big move, but I feel like 20s, you know, instead of having those big relationships and instead of doing 3 degrees, I was moving and falling and learning and growing. It was just so much. You could not pay me enough to be 24 years old again. But I think that also, I think that being in your 20s prepares you for your 30s. And, you know, I had a pretty hard start to my 30s. I lost my dad at 30. I got sober at 30. And I was prepared to do these things when I turned 30 because I had time to figure it out in my 20s. And I think I wouldn't be where I am today without figuring it out, whatever that meant in my 20s.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Beautiful. Yeah. I do wonder, like now that I'm raising a daughter and there's this part of my life where I'm turning 46 next month, and so I look ahead at what's left, and then I also am trying to raise a daughter, and I'm reminding myself of those fun 20s. And wondering how am I gonna navigate that with her, because it was a wild time in my life. But when I say wild, it's like Melissa Grelo wild. Like I'm a firstborn, let's not go crazy. I like rules, I followed the rules, I did the university, I did everything I was supposed to do. And then I had a major quarter-life crisis, like right at 25. I ditched the boyfriend, I ditched the career, I ditched it all, and I started anew, which I don't know that I would feel comfortable doing that in my mid-30s or mid-40s. But I did it then, and luckily there was a lot of runway left for me to sort of figure things out. But it is a different time, and when I look at my daughter, this is a really interesting time to be parenting, especially a girl. Because, you know, we're living longer and healthier lives, and God willing, you got a solid 80 or 85 years on this planet. And so, you know, you don't almost want to rush. I don't want to rush her. If she's figuring it all out 20 and maybe gets it all figured out by 30, she's still got a good 50 years to live life. So what's the rush? Meaning, I want to say to myself, do all the mistakes, screw up as much as possible, but to my daughter, just don't do it too hard, okay? Like, just go easy on your mother.
No. Marqueza, Auntie Lainey says go. Hey, Marqueza, call me. Call me if you have questions. Okay, thanks for watching. We've got lots more discussion and debates on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.